I've been here for like 8 years now, and eight out of 10 is almost like all the last 10 crazy years. So really excited to be here. And I thought instead of giving gyan on the specific products or the strategies and all of that stuff, I think there's a lot more that went behind scaling InMobi to a global company and our own learnings and mistakes. And I thought it's better to be real and authentic than give you textbookish stuff. So some thoughts from our side, from my side. I think while all of us sitting today understand that InMobi is a global company or that there are other global product companies, when it really started back then, imagine 2008-9, and you've just launched and pivoted from your M-Coach model to a mobile advertising model. You've got some traction in India, very little traction, some business growing. And then the question is, should we just double on India, which is your home turf, home market, or should you really go out? I mean, which sane entrepreneur would want to even try and venture and go out at that point in time when you have very little money in the bank? So for any other SaaS product company, any other product company, imagine 2008, 2009, and you would not, I mean, the choices are not so many. I mean, no other company from India had really done a great job to scale a product company outside. I mean, except Zoho at that time. I see she's from Zoho. I mean, at that time, Zoho was known that Zoho had tried stuff outside at that time. No one else had done that. Infosys, Wipro, TCS were all services companies. Going out would have meant going and competing against Google in their turf markets and big markets out there. And Google had just gotten into mobile advertising out there. So it was a huge decision. And then with all the little money we had at that 2008, 2009, why would we want to go and waste our hard-earned investment and money and go and try random markets out there? And why wouldn't we just want to double down in India and do a good job of that? I mean, it seems very logical, right? It seems very logical to just do and stick to India for any company who's been around for a while here and see what you can do with your product in India and get some comfort, get some confidence, get some cash, and then try these things. But I think somewhere, I mean, with all this logic, of course, our founder is not entirely logical at times, right? You want to be illogical. You want to be crazy at times. And I think great kudos to all of us at that point in time to say, you know what? I mean, it is possible. Let's just have the ambition and audacity and vision that we want to create a world-class product company out of India. We have to try and expand outside. I mean, it is all about that intrinsic belief that yes, let's just try it. There has to be something out of there. So we did that. We did phase one. We first went to, we first shipped our first sales guys to Indonesia, other places in Southeast Asia, South Africa, Middle East. I mean, we didn't do the whole shing-bang on day one itself. We sent, these were people who were not even based there. They used to travel here one week a month, get dhanda, come back, build something, talk to customers, understand the problems, come back, build some product, tweak your product, evolve. I mean, none of this that it sounds from outside is premeditated, pre-planned, and all that sexy stuff that we all hear about. It was all hardcore iteration, hardcore learning, and then from that phase, you went on to launch in Europe and US. We actually did that around the 2010 timeframe. And then from that phase, after we got the larger investment from SoftBank and Kleiner, is when we actually went to China, Japan, Korea, all the nice stuff we all hear about. So my point is, while any product company who's thinking of looking at global will have all the right logic and strategy and stuff, I mean, it has to all start with the inherent belief and ambition and vision that yes, this is possible. Yes, we as Indians can do it. And yes, we can build stuff that people out there would consume. So I just want to leave that as one key thing we did, key thing that is important for anyone out there as you start looking at building a product company outside, for outside India. My second thing, I mean, imagine we launched, I mean, all this belief and ambition aside, it is hard, it is painful. I'm sure people who have done this in your respective companies, and it's very painful. Let me explain the pain to you. Let me explain the extremities of what it means to run this kind of show. We're talking about a market, a target market like North America, US, which is the most advanced market in the world, most competitive, most fragmented, most unforgiving, I would say. If you fuck up, you're dead with your customers out there. There's so many companies, so many players out there, and that's US. On the other side, there is China, explosive, crazy market. I mean, it's a land of Alibaba and Baidu and Tencent, and I mean, clearly you can imagine that it's a market that is very, very different. Think of the language and culture issues, so many issues that could possibly in that market, but very, very forgiving, very, very adept and adapt to failure. So two different extremes of markets. I call them the two monsters. I mean, as a product guy, as a product people out there, we are trying to straddle these two monsters and everything in between. I mean, Europe and India and everything is in between. But ability to sort of just straddle these two monsters itself is crazy. And that's what we were up against. And it is not about whether this thing will work there or not. It is much more at a mindset and at a go-to-market level at times. So these were the two things. And when we did the US thing, you know what? We have failed 3 times in our US business. We have churned our business teams, our teams out there 3 times because we could not solve for product market. Since the last 6, 7 years, we have failed 2 to 3 times. And then we have gotten it right. And why did we fail at that time? We failed because in our ambition to be global, in our ambition to be world-class, we just did not really understand the right product market fit. We thought whatever we have built out here as a multi-product, multi-solution company, all of that will go and stick in the US. Let's just spray and let's see what sticks. We did that for 3, 4 years, and we just kept failing and failing and failing. And then slowly it started dawning that US is a land of specialists. It is all about specialization. Go and walk to any Target and Costco store and look at the number of cornflakes out there. It's like 400 flavors of cornflakes. We only understand one in India, right? And even that we will not understand well. So everything is about specialization. And yet we were trying to become like Facebook and Google as if it's a must buy. I mean, why would an average New York, Madison Street agency or media planner or ad man, why would they worry about InMobi? I mean, which is some other Indian startup out there. So I think for a long while, we had not solved this problem. And we thought that, no, yes, we can solve for US. We are like Facebook and Google and Microsoft or Yahoo, and hence we should be a buy. But we actually screwed up on that. And that whole land of specialists versus what we were trying to do was not working for us. So that was US. We, of course, did a lot of new stuff. We changed teams, changed focus areas. In the last 3 years, we really stood out and said, you know, this is what we'll stand for. We will not try and win every battle there. We'll pick up 1 or 2 battles and do a great job of that, because unless you are known for something in the US, unless you can stand up and say, this is why I am different from the 50 other players in that list, no one is going to buy anything out of you. And I think that change for us, to me, is the most important change, let alone other things out there. That just that strategic choice of which battle we will fight in the US, and how will we even go about doing it from an absolute laser-sharp focus standpoint, instead of trying to open up the entire kimono, was the single reason why it actually started succeeding. And that was US. On the other hand, you can imagine China. It is exploding. 1 billion people with smartphones. No other company which is global had ever succeeded in China in that sense. I mean, of course, Google went there, came out. eBay went there, came out. Amazon went there, came out. We all know that. And I think it just did not make any sense. So then in China also, we actually launched multiple stuff, and we said, we want to win in China. We'll go the whole hog. We'll do the full stack play in China, because we can win in China. We did that for China. So I think a lot of that has happened, and we have actually now gone about saying, we will not take our US-made products and topo it or force-fit it in different parts of the world, because it's too advanced. Conversely, we also started building China-first products. We actually built China-first products and launched it, and that became a great thing for us. So I think that is very important overall, where what are you trying to look for in these markets and how you're catering to these markets. This is very important personally. A lot of the stuff that we do in terms of our product guys and product and tech force, I believe it is completely a function of how much customer perspective we have. And in the beginning, we were sitting in India in our own ivory towers, spraying and praying and hoping things will succeed. The whole world was giving us asks and product requirements and all of that. It was just completely painful because actually we were just praying in the dark. And then in the last few 2-3 years is where we really started saying, you know what, I do not want my product and tech folks to be sitting out of here and imagining and speculating and not being clear about the customer. And it sounds very simple, guys, but it just took so long for getting our guys to be out in the market, ensuring that the product and tech leader is out in the market, meeting customers, meeting competition, really triangulating stuff, really knowing what is it that is working out there. I mean, I forced ourselves to have a travel budget for product and tech folks to just go out. You land in Beijing, the air is different. You land in San Francisco, the air is different. The customer is different. What the customer is seeing is different. Everything is different, right? And sitting out in India and Bangalore, while it is good to have our own thing, makes no sense. And it is very important for these guys to be out there, smelling the customer and knowing what is working for competition. And really having that first-hand, direct, and deep sense of the market. I mean, to me, nothing else matters but for product and tech folks, especially the leaders, to be out there, interacting with clients, being in conferences, hearing out what's happening out there, doing, I mean, Slack, WhatsApp, Skype, just having customer perspective is the most important thing for drilling down a certain strategy to what we really want to build. Otherwise, we'll keep, I mean, for any normal product guy, if you look at a problem statement, there could be 10 ways to solve the problem. And in our case, you would say, you know what, let's just do all 10. We have a bunch of great engineers out there, let's just do it. And it didn't work out. You have to pick up the 2 things that really matter, and that's what really sort of started happening for us overall. So really important and really big thing for us to make sure there's deep focus. This one is special to me personally. For a long time, the product ethos was about this whole thing. Build it, launch it, and then forget it. I've done my job. We've just launched a sexy product. I've released it in the market. Now I've just forgotten. I'll just get on to the next big thing, in my opinion. I think this was the worst. This is the worst thing that product guys can do to actually own some of these things. I mean, we really made sure that if you really care for your product, if you actually believe in this whole notion of CEO of a product, you better go out and sell to the first 5-10 clients and get clients. Go out there and work with the sales and BD guys. Show that this thing works. Get the first $100,000 in the kitty. Improve your product. Make sure that the sales guys get the confidence on this whole thing. And I think this simple thing is something that a lot of companies do not necessarily do from an expectation standpoint. And this is all about the expectation from the product and tech guys, at least the owners, to go out there and be in front, not just when you're making the product, but when you're actually selling it. And I just feel it's so important for each of these things to happen. Of course, a whole technology platform was great overall from our side. Absolute scalability, data governance, many of those things you can imagine was built through a very, very strong and robust technology platform. I can't talk, I mean, I'm running out of time. I can talk more and more around this. But I do want to talk about this specifically. So while all strategy and operations and everything else is there, how can InMobi not talk about its people and culture? To me, all of that is important. These are all InMobians across many, many markets: US, China, Korea, Europe, Singapore, many countries I'll talk about earlier. But to us, if there is a tough time out there when things are not working, it is our own culture and people first thinking that has actually helped us. And what is it all about? I mean, these are values we launched or talked about like 5 years back. We said it is important for us to hire people who really think big, for people who are actually ambitious about this whole thing, for people who are not worried about failures. And then we said, you know what? For all non-sales functions, we will not have any more a variable compensation philosophy. We changed our compensation philosophy 4 years back, called it Springboard, and made sure that you please don't sandbag or limit your expectations for every quarter. Go ahead and plan for the big thing, and I'm sure you'll do something well at that. So we didn't limit people's aspirations at that time. when it comes to the whole ownership and accountability piece, we said very, very important for all these people to feel that we trust in them, to feel that they can make mistakes, to feel that we can actually, I mean, these are smart folks we've hired. Please go out and figure out stuff. We don't know the right answer. Naveen doesn't know the right answer. I don't know the right answer. We don't know the right answer. We just have hired some good folks. You guys figure it out. You will make mistakes. It's okay. I think that whole notion of ownership and accountability has really helped us a lot to make sure people globally understand our culture. We also made sure simple stuff like policies on travel and stuff. I mean, we don't necessarily have a crazy spreadsheet of how much can you spend in one meal versus one taxi versus one night stay. It is not there. We said, why should I screw 95% of the people out there for stuff or fraud or whatever that 5% people normally do in organizations? Why should I screw the lives of 95% of the organization? And we just made a call that we will trust people. And of course, there's some overall budget and all that, but let's just trust people on these policies and leave policies and all that stuff. So a lot of that stuff has gone in on this side, on ownership front. I mean, I really think there's a value out there on being passionate, being fanatically proud. And a lot of that value, it has to be manifested in how you behave as leaders and all of that stuff. And there we say, please go out and think big and really take up stuff at your own level. A lot of stuff that is out there is happening because people are picking up problems and running on their own. So I can keep talking about this, but I feel that this is a very integral part of our global culture, because we could have a great culture in India and Bangalore because all of us sit here, but how do you handle 400 people outside India, especially across all these markets? How do you make sure these guys also believe that there's a one InMobi culture and value? And in many, many times, it becomes important. So really important personally for us, and hence I'm talking about it. So all of that is the various pieces I talked about, the strategy piece, the execution, the product focus on customers, the technology, the culture. And this is what we have finally, guys. I mean, we have InMobi as one of the largest global companies out there from India, 18 offices, 25 nationalities, 1,000 InMobians. Across these countries, we have our own offices, and these are local teams. We have not exported Indians and Desis to go and head these offices, no. Yes, we have a few Indians who are there in different markets, but all these are local teams. We have like 90 people in China, about 100 people in the San Francisco, and so on and so forth. So huge effort from our side. Of course, all of this results in a lot of users and traffic and business worldwide. I don't even know, I know that most people in India don't even understand what is the breadth and depth of InMobi's customer base. We're talking about clients from New York, from Finland, from Estonia, from Turkey, from China, from Chengdu, from across the world, who are brands, agencies, developers, apps, everyone. And they all work with our platform, our product, sitting out of here. So all these clients are across the globe, and one of the biggest expanse of clients that we interact with, per se. All of this, guys, all of what you just saw is run out of India. It's built out of India. 95% of product and technology for InMobi is done out of India. And that's something which is a big, big matter of pride for all of us. Because, I mean, I think beyond a certain point, it was not anymore about necessarily doing this because InMobi has to be big. We really feel that the fact that if InMobi can dare to dream, and if InMobi can show others what it means to build a world-class product company out of India, it actually gives a lot of hope and confidence to many more people out there in the country. And if we fail, if Paytm fails, and all the other unicorns, if they fail, then millions of entrepreneurs out there in the country will stop dreaming. And I think now it is not anymore about just making InMobi big for the sake of making ourselves big. It's about ensuring that there is a belief and ambition and confidence that all of you guys out there have, that yes, it is possible to build a world-class product company out of India. And this is our mountain view. Bangalore is our mountain view. Bangalore is our Menlo Park. We run the show. A lot of product is done there. And I'm quite proud about that one thing alone. Thank you. Thanks so much.